All right, Bill. So I thought what I would do is show you the file I was mentioning rather than send you the whole file because it's 3.5 gigs and I don't know what you would get out of it. So let me just show you what I've got. I'm going to share my screen. Um, and so now I'm sharing this project. So again, this was a project for Kendall Buster, and I showed you the animation earlier. And we can see going through the camera track what's going on. And notice in the viewport, you can see the actual camera track going through there. See that line? That's the path that the camera is actually following. So as I drag the time slider, we're obviously going up that path. And again, you can see it going through space. And each of those little spots, those little knots for the camera. Now notice when the camera is not selected, you can't see that particular path. So I have to select the camera itself. So if I go to the world outliner and go to my Engine Camera Actor and select it, again, you can see the path there. All right, so if I go to multiple viewports, here I've got sort of the back view of the building here, and the camera is selected, so we can see the camera down here, currently selected. There's the orange camera right along there. And again, if I move the time slider, you'll see it sort of move along the path. Likewise, in the top view, we can see the camera there as well. So we can see the camera going along. And in fact, in the top view, you can see the path going through there as well. All right. So if we look at the controls for the camera then, what I've did is I set keyframes at locations and rotations at different points in time. So I would start the camera where I wanted it. So again, I'm piloting it. I can see the camera view and see what I like. So I would actually just transform that camera wherever I wanted, and then set a key for that at that point in time. So then I would use these little arrows to make sure that I'm actually right on the keyframe in case I wanted to change it. So let's say if I want to change this particular keyframe location, I could go ahead and set the camera. Maybe I want it to be a little bit higher or something like that at the beginning. Then I could set the key at that point in time. And so I think the way I do that, I don't remember how I do that. Um, gosh. But I would set the key at that point in time. Again, it's been months since I did that. And then all of the keys for the transformation would happen at one point in time. Okay. So however I set the key, I would just click here right there, set a new key at that point. Okay. So I've just changed the key for um, that point in time. Again, since I'm exactly on that frame, it just overwrote the key that was already on there. Okay, so by clicking on the transform, it sets the whole key at the same time. Now, if it was location, I could just set location and rotation independently. So I just click on rotation itself and it would set all three keys for all different of the 3D rotations. All right, so let's say I come into this point and I want the camera to be maybe looking down a little bit more. Again, I would use the arrow keys to step me to the next previous or next key. And then I would change some value of it. So I'm going to change the pitch here and have it look down a little bit more. And so I'm changing the pitch value, and then I would just set the key again for that. And then that sets the key value and overwrites the one that was there before. So now we see that the camera is looking much more down than it was before. Okay, so if I go to this first key and set the pitch to be up, so I'll look up more like so, and then set that key for pitch. That's going to overwrite that key. Okay, now the camera is going to look down because I told it to look down at this point, and back here it's looking up. All right, so you can see how many keys I've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like I said, about 8 keys for this total animation. And I would just move the camera manually around the viewport until I had it where I wanted it to be, and then set the key for that at that point in time. So for any of these other objects here, physical camera scene actor, I could just grab that one and drag it into my time thing if I wanted to as well. So I could just plop that in over here. And now I have a new camera, and then I could add keyframes by clicking the transforms for this new camera. So that's how I would start, is by dragging the camera in here. And then for location and rotation, I would open these up so I could just see them. And then if I wanted to take this new camera that's positioned, let's see where it is. Grab this and pull it down. All right, so here's this camera here, and we'll go to this frame 0, let's say. Well, that's good. Yeah, let's go there. And if I just move this around, notice that this camera is moving around freely. This is obviously not the camera I'm using in the animation, but I could go down to my camera here and I could say, let's set the location and let's set the rotation for that camera. Okay, so now I go forward in time, let's say to here, and then I decide where I want the camera to be at that point in time. Okay, so let's say I want it to be up here, like say right here, but I want it to be rotated some. So I'm going to go ahead and set the location key for that. And then for, let's do for yaw, I'm just going to go ahead and rotate the camera a little bit around this way, like so. And then notice it's setting a key automatically for that, but I'm going to go ahead and do a rotation for all 3 rotations because they all are very specific. So we could see the camera being previewed here. And again, this is not the camera I animated the whole path on. Okay, so that's 2 keyframes. So now let's say I go forward in time a little bit more, put the camera over here, and then go ahead and set a location for that. And let's go ahead and set a rotation, and then I can change the yaw after the fact even. All right, so now I've got a new yaw there, et cetera, et cetera. Just move to the next point in time. And let's say I want this to go down in the Z direction, so I can just move the Z value down like so. And let's go ahead and set a location for that. So I'm clicking location, and then for rotation, go ahead and set that. All right, so that's basically it. That's the way I think I animated it. Maybe that helps. Maybe it doesn't. So I'm going to stop sharing this, and then I'm going to stop the recording.